Okay, just 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds on that clock. We've done our team cheers and we are almost ready to roll today. Bit of a confusing first start. It's strategy all the way. And we have Pulp Friction and Jambi head-to-head on that jammer line for our very first jam. And Jambi out with a quick lead there for the first jam. BCR proving tough there on as they come around the apex. Pulp is still in the pack. And a nice inside pass there from Jambi for her first scoring pass. As Friction is still battling that BCR defense. And Friction is out of the pack now, so we've got two free jammers. Jambi's getting another round and calling off. Nice, quick couple of passes there for BCR. So we have Bussy on the line for VRDL. And we have Riley for BCR. BCR holding that outside line there on Bussy. And Riley getting a quick pass through. Holding strong just before that apex, protecting that really juicy apex line that the jammers quite often like to take. Pushing down hard and fast that VRDL backline defense. T-Slam and Mayhem with some pretty good double butt action there. Really taking the speed off that jammer. While at the front there, we see our VRDL jammer, Bussy, coming through for their first scoring pass. Not a chance this time around as BCR call as lead. VRDL with 0 still on the clock and BCR with a juicy 8 points for those first couple of jams. That last jam was a 0 point for both teams though, so proving difficult to even get some points on the board at this point in the game so early on. Okay, so we have Toby for VRDL and Chaotic K for BCR. Now, having been up against K many times, they are a pretty dominable force, as is shown by their lead jammer status. Very powerful jammer there. Bit of chaos there in the pack as Toby pushes through. But even Kay got stopped there for a moment, but not too long as she gets her first scoring pass. Had a cheeky little star pass there for VRDL as they come around hoping to score their first points, but finding a secret banana on the track, as often does happen in this game. There was 7 points scored for BCR in that jam, which takes them to 15. VRDL at 0. Kai Juju for VRDL. And Raptor, a new pairing we haven't seen just yet. I think I can tell what kind of skaters these are. Those bouncy, bouncy long-legged ones. Very formidable as Raptor becomes the 4th straight lead for BCR's Punk blockers. Very jumpy, both of these guys. We got our first penalty, I believe, for both teams. We have VRDL's Jammer in the box. Stretching that pack out and holding for quite some time for Raptor. Raptor's quite a strong skater, as they all are. And coming around for another scoring pass, but, you know, making her work for it. So as VRDL's Kaiju comes into the pack again from that box, we have another stretched out pack as T-Slam heads to the bin and Raptor gets a scoring pass. Lots of chaos there at the back of that pack on the far side of the track. I can see lots of comms there as Raptor takes that inside line, takes advantage of that chaos for another 4 points. So keep in mind the VRDL Jammer is still on their initial pass. So no point scoring just yet, but as I say that, cheeky pass on the inside. Coming around to hopefully score some points. Grabbing those 4 points with an inside pass. Raptor calls off, prevents VRDL from getting any points on the board. So it is still donuts for them, unfortunately. But we have 31 on the clock for BCR. Again, we have the friction jamby jam up, as you would say. Jamby pushing through as she loves to do and taking that inside for another lead. Now, so far it has been a BCR dominated lead for this game, which is shown in the scoreboard as well. Friction, though, getting a lot of support as she steams out of that pack. We have one VRDL blocker in the bin. Pack advantage to BCR as they call it off. Did we get, or we didn't get, almost, we got so close to a point there. But none for VRDL, but 4 for one pass through BCR, that one. So Bussy and Riley again on the jam line. Beautiful outside line work there from Bussy. Very tight pack. As they are out in the quickest succession that we have seen, this puts a lot of pressure on BCR, which means that they called it. No one wants a jammer right on their tail. So that's 0-0 for both teams. We saw on that last jam that they started quite a bit off the jam line, the defence teams. And we gave the jammers a bit more of a run-up. And that proved successful for VRDL, a pretty quick exit after that BCR lead. I do love how excited Toby is on the jam line when they kind of sprint out of there. Full of adrenaline, as I'm sure they all are. So we've got BCR in the bin. I think that might even be their first penalty. This is a pretty good game with penalties so far. Got one defence down for BCR as Kay comes out of the pack lead. And we've got a stretched out pack there as Puss gives it one last shove to get Toby out of there. BCR's defence at the front there waiting to take on Toby. Not the chance as it was called off just before. We got 3 cheeky points there from BCR, taking them to 38 with a lead to 0 for VRDL. Kaiju versus Raptor on this jam line. as we've still got a disadvantaged pack for BCR. One defence in the bin. Some good dodging and swerving as Raptor does best. Comes out for a lead. And despite not being completely together, the VRDL defence happens to hold Raptor for quite a time before she gets out. In the meantime, we do see Mayhem going to the bin. And both jammers now out and ready to score points. Again, calling off before VRDL gets a chance. They're really keeping VRDL in check at this point in the game. The BCR team, the Punk Blockers. 42-0. As we see the jam friction combo once again. She's got those speed arms happening. This is a pair that doesn't mind a bit of argy-bargy, and a beautiful exit from both the jammers, taking advantage of some holes there. And straight away calling, thinking, I don't want to have any friction on my tail. So that's 0-0 for that jam. Means both of them can have a bit of a rest. Every other jam has been pretty hectic. Oh, actually, no. Jambi's back up on the line, so no rest for Jambi. This time, pairing up. A new pairing with Bussy. So the BCR blockers proving really strong at the back there on Bussy as Jamie gets a quick lead. Mayhem giving it their all. Could not stop Jambi with that momentum. Jambi is pretty hard to stop in any case. We have one blocker in the bin for VRDL, so we are down one blocker on track. They are still holding their own. As Jambi comes around for another scoring pass, and we have two full teams on the track. And Bussy out of the pack. Panty in hand. Back on the head before they can score some points. So that was a good round for Jambi, who had 3 scoring passes and 12 points as a result. VRDL sitting at 0. Jam number 10, we are seeing a new pairing here. We have Riley for BCR and Friction for VRDL. It's good when they mix it up a bit, seeing what works. Beautiful clearing there with a bit of offense from Beckery. Beautiful. I love that. My favorite part of that knockout of Friction to Riley was just how she put her hands on her hips like it was nothing afterwards. Next question. Love your work, Friction. You can't join them, beat them, that's what they say. Kay versus Toby on the jammer line here. Some evident struggles as we hear actual gasps for air on the track. Toby having no luck going against Scare Bear. Tries another tact. BCR are split up over the track, which gives Toby a bit of a chance, but Scary is right up there in their face. It's kind of hard to get away from Scary. It's all in the name, Scary. And actually causes a penalty of a forearm against Toby, the jammer for VRDL. Easy to do when you're at the front there fighting for that last jammer position to get past that last blocker. So we're going to start the next jam with a power jam to BCR's punk blockers. Raptor pretty happy about that, I reckon. No pressure. So we're seeing all of the blockers there hugging that pivot line, trying to get maybe a bit of a false start from someone. They're goading the hell out of Mayhem. High on the hill with a lonely goat at the back there. And we have Raptor with a lead, given that she's the only one on track, so that's what she's going for. I love how Raptor just uses another player to kind of swing their backwards around in this awesome side surf. It's quite a unique move that she does. As Toby comes out of the box straight into that BCR tripod. But Tambalam is like, nope, I'm taking you out. Beautiful arm wraps from Raptor there. I wonder if that's where the name came from. Sort of arms everywhere but nowhere all at once. It's cool to watch. BCR holding really strong at the back there with Toby. You can see in Toby's face that they are pushing with all their might. Axel providing a bit of fridge action, as they say in VRDL. Just pushing anyone out of the way that tries to come back to help. Nope, you can't come back here. We have a BCR blocker in the bin. Bad Wolf, being a very bad wolf. We have a hit out on Raptor as she uses that opportunity to take a breath as she's recycled all the way back to the track. Toby's still on their initials, so not in a huge hurry to get through the pack because they've only just exited the pack and they're only just now starting to be able to score points. So now there's more pressure. When do they call? They call just before they go through the pack, which means they've burned a bit more clock time, and they've also meant that the other team couldn't score any points. So we're sitting here coming into jam number 13 with 70 points to the BCR's Punk Blockers and 0 points to VRDL's Thunder. Jambi pushing through for a quick lead, as she has done every time this game. Formidable jammer, who used to, for those who don't know, jam for VRDL as well. So familiar with both teams, which is probably a bit of an advantage. Lucky her. I've played in both of these leagues as well, and I can tell you they're both pretty damn hard. Kaiju at the back, still pushing to get through that pack. With a few sort of arms and legs flying in that pack as Jambi literally flies around the inside, does a beautiful apex jump like it's nothing. Still on initial for the VRDL jammer, Kaiju. As the pack's moving pretty slow around that far side. Jambi takes a moment to assess. Things are quieting down in terms of pace because there's a lot of pushing. There's a lot of, 100%ing out there, and it's only, I guess, halfway through the first half. Still so much to go. Some easy passes there as the pack still kind of focuses on getting that jammer through. This is looking like the highest scoring jam for this game so far by Jambi. Pretty long jam as well, so that for everyone else who wasn't Jambi, that seemed like a lot of really, really, really hard work. As we come towards as we come towards the 3-digit mark for BCR after 28 points. Is that my 28 points? Well done. So Friction versus Riley on that jammer line this time around. VRDL holding Riley at the front there with a nice solid pack. Both of them very solid packs. VRDL having taken all of Riley's speed off. Coming up to that important apex where they quite often use it to their advantage, the jammers. Still managing to hold as a 2-wall. Mayhem off to the bin for a forearms. At the same time, getting a cut track penalty for BCR's jammer. And we have the crowd going wild as we get the first lead jam for Friction for VRDL this game. And the other jammer, Riley, in the bin for a cut track. So we have a good little chunk of time here to really get some points on the board. Friction fighting there as she beautiful toe stop work as she glides around that inside apex up the top there. Beautiful. Oh, almost made that pass. Friction's always been pretty nifty on those toe stops. Going for that break, those arms, try to potentially get a multiplayer, but of course they're onto that. So we see our first points on the board for VRDL, a very exciting time indeed. Friction trying to come in with a bit of power, a bit of speed, but that BCR wall is strong AF. Well done, Friction, getting some points on the board there. VRDL now sits, I want to say 8, but I don't know if that was the final score, but yes, it may be. Oh, no, 3 more. So that ended up being 11 points for Victoria and actually 0 points for BCR. Oh, no, 4 points. They get me every time. I say it too quickly. So we're now in the triple digits for BCR, 102 versus 11. Kay going for that back line and then just pushing right on through, taking the inside line there to get out of the pack pretty quickly. Unfortunately, we have a VRDL jammer in the bin. Bussy has a think about it for 30 seconds. Also have a BCR blocker in the bin for a multiplayer. Getting a bit of a schooling from Kay as she comes around. But, you know, Kay's pretty good. I don't know if she needs all 3 blockers. Exactly. There we go. Bit of a steam train, Kay, when she wants to be. But a beautiful catch from behind for VRDL. Knocks Kay down, which is pretty hard to do. So the VRDL jammer, Bussy coming out of the bin and then going back in for, I believe, a cut track. Then the jam was called off. So that's going to mean it's going to be a power jam for BCR, powerless jam for VRDL if we're wanting to use the correct terminology. Still got almost 7 minutes in this game, and I tell you, I'm tired just watching it. Again, we have Raptor. They love giving Raptor just, you know, so much leeway on this track. It's like, hey, we've got a power jam. Let's give it to Raptor. Not that she needs the help. BCR just pulling back to give Raptor the first chance to get through. And then, of course, hanging back so that we have the pack being right at the back there and less of an effort for Raptor to push through at the front, as she has done, coming around for her first set of points. VRDL already stretching out, ready for her. But, of course, those little Raptor wraps that she does with her arms gets her out every time. As we see a bit of a changeover in the box for VRDL. The jammer out, the blocker in, T-slam, done something wrong, didn't see it. So 0 points for Victoria in that one, but I think it's going to be 12 points for BCR. A new little combo on the jam line now with Jambi and Toby. We've got an official timeout here. All right, we're back after our first official timeout with a bit of a changeover on that jam line. Our favourite little combo that started the game, Friction and Jambi. So Jambi out of that pack after a bit of argy-bargy, and Friction keen to push through, separating that pack really well. Really good way to get through BCR, because together they are formidable. But, you know, Happy could have a formidable by herself as well. Jambi hopping around inside, outside to make an easy pass. Friction looking to do some quick little jammer D. It's always good to keep your eyes open about what's happening on that track, because you never know, the jammer might be coming right up behind you. Even as a jammer, you can be pretty effective. You can use your own team as well, actually. So scoring a cut track there for something that happened at that apex a few steps ago. Friction's off to the bin for her first penalty, as Jambi gets free reign of the track for the next 30 seconds. Unless, of course, they call it off, which is a strategy commonly used to begin the next jam with a power jam. Let me guess, it's Raptor. Getting an easy run, Raptor. It looks so easy out there on that track. Crowding around that pivot line. Trying to take off that speed from Raptor, which is a really good idea. Well-placed hit on Killer Curls. If Raptor had gone for the middle of the back, that would have been a back block. Should have gone to the bin, but she did it just to the side, managed to get Killer Curls on the ground, and was able to pass them. Bussy in the bin as pivot for VRDL. Some almost acrobatic movement there from Friction, trying to get through that BCR pack that's right on the inside. Looks very kebabby to me, but not successful that time around. Kebab being a move where you kind of take someone to one side of the track and the two defence players work in tandem to kind of push you off the track and lose your position. So I guess it was a bit successful. But nonetheless, Friction is out of the pack and Stars back on the head for some point scoring. Unfortunately, not this time around. Velocity Raptor calling it with 11 points on the board, I believe. 0 for VRDL, so they sit at 11 with BCR at 151. Chaotic K with another lead, which has been 100% lead for her this game. Toby fighting through, getting stuck on Scary, which happens. Bit of a two-car pile-up over at the outside of the apex. Katie Chaos laughing it off, as you have to really in this game. Scary again, the last point of defense with Puss. So a 2-wall chest blocking. Oh, 3-wall now. Very good reforming from BCR. It's kind of soul-sucking when that happens. You think you're getting through and then one by one they come up. And that's because the teams are all kind of moving forward at the same time and you're not losing pack. So you're able to get back together again. Scary going a little bit further than they should at the front. Had to pull back before a defense out of play, a blocking out of play call. And Toby is out of that pack with some cheering from their team. Beautiful pass on the outside there as we see Kay go to the box, and we've got a bit of a, advantage time, I would say. Powerless time. Advantage for VRDL being that, Kay was the lead jammer, so this jam cannot be called anymore. It is now a 2-minute jam. We still have about 20 seconds left. And until Kay gets back on the track, it is Toby's time to shine with those point scorers. A bit of confusion as to where to re-enter. Beautiful inside line. Almost got through that final defense player from BCR, and a 2-minute jam, always worthy of a cheer, as well as being intermission. And I'll hand over to Dottie for the final scores of this first half.
On VRDL, we have 15 points and Brisbane City Rollers 158.
Beautiful. Thanks, Dottie.
In 2010, we took soft foam helmets from every brand, including S1, into the testing lab and discovered that every single one of them failed current helmet safety standards. This is a soft foam helmet. It has a hard plastic outer shell and soft foam inserts. The problem with soft foam helmets is that impact energy travels directly through these helmets and rattles the brain. Soft foam helmets do not pass high impact or multiple impact certification tests. After learning this information, we set out to make a better, safer helmet. What we created was the S1 Lifer helmet with fusion foam. We make fusion foam by blending low, medium, and high density beads together to make our impact-reducing inner foam mold. The inner foam mold is what does all the impact dispersion in the S1 Lifer helmet. We batch test every production run of helmets to ensure the quality and consistency of every S1 Lifer helmet made. Get a Lifer, be a Lifer.
This is the totally redesigned Lifer visor helmet from S1. Featuring our patented fusion foam, this helmet has the impact protection you've come to expect from an S1 helmet and is both multiple impact and high impact certified. Our new custom visor is made with a high impact polycarbonate lens, which is optically correct and features our patented cover catcher, which allows for multiple covers to be worn with easy on-off. The outside lens has an anti-scratch coating, while the inside has an anti-fog coating. The outer shell is equipped with in-mold mounting hardware, so that the visor can be removed and replaced if needed. The S1 Lifer visor helmet, where innovation and function are actualized.
S1 Helmets has raised the bar for helmet quality and safety. We batch test every production run of S1 Lifer helmets to ensure the consistency and reliability of quality we have set for an S1 Lifer helmet. The S1 Lifer helmet is tested to make sure that the fusion foam is soft enough to diffuse energy to the head in multiple low force impacts and dense enough to distribute energy away from the head in high impacts. Every S1 Lifer helmet is certified under the CPSC and ASTM safety standards for single and multiple impact hits, which makes them up to 5 times safer than traditional soft foam helmets. S1 Helmets is dedicated to making high quality, safer helmets that look and fit great, and that you know will perform when you need them to. We are not required to batch test every run of S1 Lifer helmets made, but we do so for our peace of mind and yours. Quality counts. Get a Lifer, be a Lifer.
The S1 Pro knee pad is built to last and perform, blending highly durable fabrics and materials into an innovative design with exceptional craftsmanship. We use a very tough, military-grade ballistic nylon for the outer shell material. We triple-stitched every seam to prevent blowouts and reinforced all of the straps with additional stitching. Our top straps are made with a high-retention elastic that minimizes excessive stretching and incorporates a length adjustment system to allow you to lengthen or shorten the top strap. The inner knee cup mold is streamlined and deep-fitting and features a 4-tiered foam system combining varying densities of foam with shock-dispersing foam to achieve both shock reduction and comfort on impact. The inner foam layer is a high-rebound memory foam which absorbs shock and molds to your knee on impact, stabilizing the knee, helping to prevent slippage. Our kneecap has a flat surface that supports stability on impact and is made with a high abrasion polycarbonate plastic for durability. The S1 Pro knee pad: stability, durability, functionality.
And again, a bit of a repeat here with Jambi getting a lead jammer as she pushes through that pack. Friction is at the back there, stopped by a formidable force of BCR's blockers. And a stretched out pack there means that Jambi pushes through and scores her first scoring pass. Friction thinking she might have a chance, but then Scare Bears up the top doing the blocking as best they do. Beautiful awareness on the track from Friction as she steps out but realizes who's back and forth and steps right back in, doesn't get a cut track because she knows exactly where everyone is. Calling before VRDL can reach that pack for some points and ending with 2 VRDL blockers in the bin. So starting the next jam with just 2 VRDL blockers on the track, which gives a pack advantage, as they say, to BCR. Riley thinking about things for BCR as we have Kaiju for VRDL on the jam line. Riffraff doing some excellent offense and pack keeping work there. And Riley fighting through those 2 VRDL blockers as Kaiju is taken further back of the track, momentarily thinks about doing some jammer D, then actually I've got other things I need to do today. As Tam the Lamb Slam comes back and clears that box for VRDL, but it is not so clear for BCR as Bad Wolf heads to the bin. Kaiju still trying to get through that pack for their initial pass. As Riley takes their time, head around the pack. Noise erupts from both ends as the VRDL jammer comes up for hopefully points, not this time. So an additional 10 points for BCR gets them edges ever closer to the 200 mark as they sit on 180 and VRDL on 15. We have Toby VK on the jammer line. Both packs fairly close to each other on that back line, that jammer line. As Puss goes down momentarily and then straight back into that pack for blocking BCRs. Toby getting held at the back there by a strong tripod as Kay fights her way out. But that was a bit more resistance from VRDL. Took a third of a track to get through that time, which is good. In the last half we saw a lot of BCR leads coming straight out of the pack of those jam starts. Now we're seeing a bit more of a fight this half. So a bit of strategy talk, I think, from VRDL may have gone down well. They're coming out fighting. That said, that was a BCR win for that jam, but only 3 points. So as I say, much more pressure being applied from the VRDL side in that last jam. So we're seeing Bussy against Raptor, which is not a combo we see a lot. Usually Raptor doesn't have anyone next to her, but this time she does. She's been picked for all the power jams that BCR have had this game. And Bussy pushing through with a successful exit from the pack and looking to get some points on the board for VRDL. They haven't done so this game. And not again this jam as BCR makes sure they call before they reach the pack. So 4 cheeky points there from Raptor on the board for BCR. The illustrious combo of Jambi and Friction Lovely smiles on the jam line, as we like to see. So we're starting with a disadvantage pack for BCR as one of them. Oh, actually for both teams, as one blocker is out for both sides. Jambi proving unstoppable once again for a lead jam status. Lots of whistles happening. I believe at least one person. Yeah, we can see T-Slam coming to the bin for VRDL as the bin is cleared for BCR, and we have a full pack back on track, starting with a disadvantage pack for the next jam for VRDL. A very tight pack there on that jam line. Proves successful for Riley as BCR takes the lead once again. And as BCR pushes Toby to the outside, actually clears that inside. So very good strategy there to get Riley around for the first scoring pass. And T-Slam carefully comes out of that box because you can't come out too quickly and go for a mega hit. I did that once and got expelled from the game, so that's not what you do. T-Slam came out very controlled, went in straight for the hit, slowed Riley down a little bit, and then takes the panty pass. T-Slam with the star. Now, that's not something I've seen in a while. Takes me right back to 10 years ago. When I used to be in this factory. I love that. I love that T-Slam's the pivot. That's fun. So we've got Bussy against Kay. Two very tall players. Let's see how they use it to their own advantages. Kay with a quick lead as Bussy is recycled, which we say in Derby, when someone gets pushed out or pushed to the side and loses ground, goes backwards. A star pass from VRDL as Beckery, or Golden Sleigh Time as they're called, I apologise, comes out of the pack for some points. I'm loving seeing these star passes. Now, I did say panty pass before. That was a bit of an old school language term from me. We don't usually use that anymore. We now call panties stars, which is slightly less exciting, but I do like stars, so that's okay. Star pass, panty pass, all the same thing. I love seeing it. It makes the game a bit more dynamic, a bit more exciting. Gives other people a bit of a run. So we've had an official timeout called. Take a momentary break. Okay, back on track, and it is Raptors lead once again as Toby is, oh no, my mistake, sorry. Kaiju for VRDL is battling through that pack. I love the levels that Raptor uses as well. Being a tall player, she's really good at bending down nice and low to scoot under those last couple of players at the top of a pack. as Kaiju tries to take some edges, some sides, but of course even a 2-wall from BCR is pretty formidable. A 1-wall, as we're seeing with Bad Wolf. You can see here a good example of even when a wall isn't fully formed in the traditional tripod way, they can still be really effective just sort of individually coming together in a bit of a mashup. They're also strong individually. They can kind of take impact from any angle on their body. All right, so we've called the jam off there. BCR getting a couple of scoring passes with 8 extra points, and we've surpassed the 200 mark, sitting at 212 versus VRDL's 15. So for this half, VRDL haven't gotten any points on the board. Mayhem proving pretty strong there at speed with the last resort for Jambi before becoming lead. Just so quick on her feet, Jambi is. It's really hard, you have to think about what they go through when a jammer comes up full ball to a pack, how quickly they have to think to dart around all the moving parts, all those chess pieces on the board. Happy little Vegemite proving to be just a solid rock for Friction to get through. Now at the front, Puss and Scary equally as solid with their chests. And for those who aren't familiar, blocking with the chest is a legal target zone for the person that is running into you. They can push you right in the middle of your chest. Unlike the back, it is not illegal, and if they push you down, there is no penalty. So it's risky, but if you're good at it, it's also very, very effective. You'll often see Puss and Scary at the front doing those chest blocking moves. That was quite a good score for BCR as they got a couple of passes through. I think it's 16 from where I'm sitting. Maybe 18. What does it say on the board? Is it 18? 15, is it? Points? Oh, okay. Oh, that's easy. I thought, okay, 16. Cool. Okay, Bussy and Riley up on the jam line as Bussy hugs that outside. T-Slam providing some terrifying offense as they're just smashing into that pack. In the meantime, Riley comes in through the inside line and gets lead. And Bussy is off track with a cut. So now we have 2 players from VRDL in the bin. We have 1 blocker and the jammer. So on track, Riley has a bit of a breather. Able to assess the situation before entering that pack again without the pressure of having another jammer breathing down their neck. Managing to clear the box for the blocker side of things, but starting the jam with the VRDL jammer in the bin. So a power jam for BCR, and rather than Raptor, they're giving it to K this time. No pressure, K. It's the easiest way to play Derby. I'm not very convincing. There's always pressure. These two are very, very strong teams. Some of the best in Australia. I don't even know what K was worried about. Took the inside line, beautifully cleared by the BCR defense team, and 1 quick hit straight through as the VRDL jammer Bussy enters the track once again, fighting for their life at the back to get through that BCR strong wall. Beautiful outside line there by Bussy, almost getting out and trying not to get recycled, but having a bit of a reprieve here as Kay, the jammer for BCR, goes to the bin. So there's 30 seconds where Bussy can fight for some points. Well, 30 seconds from when the person sits down in the bin. So it's not 30 seconds from when the penalty is called, it's from when they sit in the bin. And if they come in hot and sit down and fall over themselves and all the officiators, then they will often get called for more time. So you've got to be careful when you come into that box. Speaking of which, we have Golden Sleigh Time, who was the pivot, actually got the penalty when they had the star in their hand, which means that the pass had been completed and they were the jammer. So when they got the penalty, they need to sit as the jammer. They can't sort of go back and give it back. That's what happened at the time. Looking at Sleigh Time's socks, thinking they are some kind of animal. I thought it was a sloth, but I think they might be some kind of farm animal. Anyway, we have Bussy in the box on the blocker side, which is the opposite of what just happened. Sleigh Time had the panty from Bussy, and now Bussy's got the penalty as a blocker. A little bit confusing. But nonetheless, we start the next jam with Bussy in the bin as a blocker. So when they enter the track, it'll be in the defence team. All right, we have an official review again. Put some tunes on maybe. Okay, official review is over. We have Raptor and Friction on the line. Raptor taking a beautiful inside line at just before that apex to become lead jammer. As Friction fights dutifully as she does. Pushing through to cause a temporary no-pack situation, which means that they have to come back together within the 20 feet territory, and Friction, beautiful smile as she exits the pack and looks for more points. Just before she entered the pack, they have to be so quick with those calls. Not only does the bench have to know when to tell them to call, the jammer has to know to listen, and the refs have to know to see. So all those things have to happen within seconds of each other, because milliseconds is what is the difference between points and no points when a jammer's coming hot on the heels. So we have a new jammer that we haven't seen yet starting on the line. We have Golden Sleigh Time for Victoria against Jambi. There's lots of smiles because, as I said before, they used to play on the same team at VRDL. Jambi's back with BCR now, though, as is indicated by the red uniform. And Sleigh Time is out of the pack. A valiant first jam for Golden Sleigh Time there, and another 8 points on the board for Jambi, taking BCR to 256 and VRDL sitting at 15. Riley and Toby fighting it out for lead jammer at the moment. Both teams are coming up against some pretty strong tripods. Kimbo always pretty dominating as a back part of that wall. I believe one of a couple of people who have been on Team Australia in the BCR punk blockers, if I'm not mistaken. Riley doing some fancy footwork as they come around that bend to get lead jammer. But that was a fight from both and successful from both as VRDL's hot on the heels of BCR. Okay, so that's an interesting turn of events where a jammer who is lead tries to call at the same time or just before they actually committed a penalty, which in this instance was a cut track. So therefore, them calling the jam off was invalid. You didn't hear those whistles, and they get sent to the bin, and this becomes a 2-minute jam. As I explained earlier, when the lead jammer goes to the bin, no one can call it off, and we have another 30 seconds to fight for some more points as VRDL is the only jammer on track. Bussy really giving it to Kimbo on the track there. Ready for some incoming jammer action. A beautiful re-entry from Riley there. Silent but violent kind of derby styles. Beautiful. Always good to have a clap at the end of a 2-minute jam. They are working so hard, these humans. And 7 more points for VRDL, taking them to 22. Actually more points than BCR in that one, so well done. And BCR sitting at 261. Friction and K. I don't know if we've seen this combo yet, but a beautiful pass from Friction. Big cheers from the blue corner as Friction gets her second lead, and in fact the second lead for VRDL in total. So she has been the most successful VRDL jammer this time, and so we see Friction realizing that she does not have the star cover, which means that whatever points she thought she scored when she didn't have the star on her head, she didn't in fact score. So I'm not sure if she got that last pass, but now it's back on the head and she is good to go. So that last pass that she did with the star on her head, 4 points. As Kay comes through again with 4 points. Sometimes that does happen. You know, it's just a stretchy cover. Very easy to come off when you're going head first into 4 blockers or more if they're all together. This is a great jam for Friction though. A lot of great momentum as she comes up to the pack and weaves her way through. A tiny but mighty player, Friction is. Always fun to watch because she does try so hard and she has a smile on her face the most of the time, which is always good to see in sport, especially violent sport. A cheeky little hop, which unfortunately results in a forearm. So if you use the front section of your arm from your elbow down and you push into another player that's not on your team, that is a forearm. And it happens quite often when you're trying to push through, obviously, if you let that arm come off your body. So that was a crazy but successful jam for both teams, actually. We're doing a timeout now as we end with a 14 and 16 point jam, VRDL 36 and Brisbane City Rollers at 277. Alrighty, we are back after a brief timeout. The first one called this game, actually, so there's still a couple left from both teams. We have a power jam with Friction in the bin for VRDL and Raptor on the start line. Now, it wasn't a straight out there. It was a pretty good fight from VRDL against Raptor. VCR just holding back, waiting for Friction to come out of that pack, which she has done now. She's always good at sort of checking where the other jammer is, Friction. Doing a little bit of argy-bargy when she can. T-Slam back in the box for VRDL as Raptor is stuck on Bussy in the blocking pack. As the pack just sort of hangs on that apex there. And Friction is recycled back. But takes a beautiful outside line, as she loves to do with those really low skating stances that she has. You know, she's short, but then she gets even lower, and it's really hard to catch her. So no more points for VRDL on that one. However, 7 more for BCR. Jambi and Kaiju on the line. As we have 3 versus 4 down for VRDL in the blockers packs. And BCR doing a beautiful inside lane clear. And Kaiju also out of the pack fairly quickly with some speed. Those long legs working hard. Not given much of a chance to score points as they burn the clock a little with about 5 minutes to go of this second half. It has been a weekend of games between Victoria, Brisbane and Perth for this Tri-State competition. And this game here is the second to last, the penultimate game for this weekend. So if you stick around after this game, we have the final game of VRDL All-Stars versus Perth. So that will be an exciting one, as always. Some really good quality roller derby happening this weekend. Thanks for VRDL for hosting it at their factory HQ. Nice to be somewhere that's not Queensland and really, really hot and humid. What lovely weather to play in. Under 20 degrees. Not quite sure how Brisbane are handling it, but I think from the scoreboard, they're doing okay. In the Brisbane venue, when you train, there is a fan that's about 10 metres wide on the roof, and I'm not even joking. Doesn't do much, though. Okay, we have some good action there from VRDL. They actually put killer curls on that jam line for the first time. Trying something new in the last few minutes, shaking it up. It was a 0 point for VRDL, but they did get out there, and Brisbane got another 4 points. So edging towards that 300 mark, BCR is, as we see Slay Time back on the jam line with K behind. It's always terrifying to have K right behind you. We know there's only one way she likes to get through, and that's not by jumping. Straight through for Kay as lead jammer. As Slade pummels through, or gives it their best effort to pummel through. As some mild confusion at the apex occurs. It's the end of the jam, but wondering what the question was. I didn't see it. But regardless, we have 2 extra points on the board for BCR. A quick official timeout, as I think they're clarifying some of the scoring there as we head into the final minutes of this game. All over it. Alrighty, turn it down. Thanks to my musical assistant Dottie on this game, killing it. Raptor and Friction. Friction bending her way around for another lead. That's 100% strike rate, I believe, as Bad Wolf heads to the bin. And Raps also in the bin for VRDL. Sometimes you might see people who are not the jammer making the call sign, just in case a ref has not picked up that they're calling. We always like a bit of help with our friends. Just a minute and a half left of this game, so maybe 1 or 2 jams depending on how they go. Slay time against Jambi here. Jambi, one of the most highly rotated jammers in this game for BCR. Not giving them any room to get through. However, Jambi has speed and strength in her favour and manages to break up that pack enough to get another lead. Slay time looking for the panty first before some holes in that defence. Puss getting thrown off track as it is quite a speedy pack. And a beautiful star pass from T-Slam. The second time we've seen that in this game. It's something it's always great to see. Not a position that she's often in. Did she get a cheeky point? She got 2 cheeky points. Well done, T-Slam. And another several points takes Brisbane past the 300 mark, sitting pretty at 306 and VRDL 38. We have a team timeout in the final seconds of the game, which means they have one more opportunity for a jam. Okay, we are in for the final jam of this game of VRDL's Thunder versus BCR's Punk Blockers. And Raptor ends it with a beautiful 100% jam lead jammer record. More great track awareness for Friction as she pops out the outside to almost score. But as they call it off, the time has run out. And we are looking at an unofficial score. We'll give it a moment before we can announce the final figure. Okay, we can happily say this game is wrapped up with a final score of 312 to Brisbane City Rollers Punk Blockers and 38 to Victorian Roller Derby League's Thunder. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the teams for making the journeys to get here. Thank you to our NSOs and our refs. We cannot do this without you. I have been Kegel Eagle commentating with my musical sidekick Dottie. And hang around in the next short while. We have one final game of VRDL All-Stars versus Perth for the weekend. Thank you so much.